It's Jamie, welcome back. So today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I turn the Dollar Tree bicycle wheel wreath form into a patriotic wreath. So everything that I am using is from the Dollar Tree, and I will be leaving a materials list down in the description box down below. So you can always refer there if you want to know everything that I used. So first of all, we are going to start off with the bicycle wheel wreath ring, and it's 14 inches from the Dollar Tree, and they do come just green. So since this is going to be a patriotic wreath, I decided that I was going to paint mine. So I did take mine outside and I gave it a couple of coats of this red spray paint that I got from Walmart. But you don't have to paint yours if you don't want to, and if you don't have spray paint, you can just paint it with acrylic paint with the paintbrush. But I find that using the spray paint is a lot easier, so that's what I did. So we're also going to be using some of the Dollar Tree floral, and I've already went through and cut off my floral, but so I'm going to be using some of the eucalyptus that I got from the Dollar Tree, and this comes to with 4 in a bunch. So I am using 2 bunches of these. And then also there is this smaller eucalyptus that I got. So I went ahead and cut that off of the from the stems. And then I did go ahead and cut off all of my flowers that I'm going to be using, but this is what I had left over. So I'm going to be using some of these red and white striped, I think these are daisies, and the blue with the white stars. I'm going to be using some of those. Also, some of these carnations that are the red and white striped with the blue and white stars. And then these, I believe, are, I don't know if these are daisies also or sunflowers, but the red, they have the red, white, and blue bunches of these. And then I'm going to be using some just plain colored carnations, red, white, and blue. And then I'm also going to be using some of the baby's breath from the Dollar Tree. So I went ahead and cut those off of the stems already so that all this will be ready for me to get started. I'm also going to be using some of these zip ties. Now I'm using the color red just because my frame is, I painted it red. If you don't have red, that's fine. You can use whatever colors that you want. These are also, I believe these are the 6-inch. I think these are the 6-inch zip ties, but you can get zip ties from the Dollar Tree. I'm not sure where mine came from. So, but you can get the zip ties from the Dollar Tree. You're also going to need some clippers so that you can cut your zip ties and cut your zip ties if you need to, and then also to cut your flowers off the stems. And then you're also going to need a sign. Now, I did make my own sign, and I didn't really like the way that it turned out. I mean, it's cute, but it's just not really what I was going for. So, I ended up going to the Dollar Tree, and I did find this sign. And I think I'm just going to use one of the little signs that it's on it, but it's the one that hangs, and each of these individual signs are attached to a ribbon. So I'll probably be cutting off one of these signs and using it instead, because you can't use just any old sign. The bicycle wheel is fairly small. It is only 14 inches. So if you use too big of a sign, it's going to cover up your wheel. So I've tried to find something a little smaller. Like the one that I made, it is pretty much just perfect size. But like I said, I don't really like the way that it turned out. So, but anyway, we're going to scrap that one. So to get started, what we are going to do is I'm going to go ahead and set my wheel to the side. So I won't be needing that just yet. we are going to start by making essentially a swag. So the way I'm going to make my swag is I'm going to start off with my greenery as a base first. So what I'm going to do is this longer, the bigger eucalyptus that I got, I'm going to use it first and lay it down. And I'm going to show you guys how I do that. So like I said, each of the bunches comes with 4 on a bunch. So I just went ahead and cut all 4 of them off of the stem that it was on. So what we do with one side of the swag, we are going to mirror and do the opposite side the same way. So I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and lay out my eucalyptus. Let me put these flowers out of the way here. Lay my eucalyptus down first. So I've got 4 on this side that I'm going to have. And then, let me bend this so it's a little straighter. And then on this side over here, I'm going to move this other greenery out of the way here. I've got these other 4 eucalyptus. So what I mean by mirroring it is if I have 4 on this side of eucalyptus, I'm going to have 4 on this side of eucalyptus. So now that I have those there, we're just kind of laying it out first to get, just to get it however you want it to be. And the nice thing about these is that they are wired so you can bend them however you want, which is good. So, so we're going to lay these out to how you want them. And then you're going to come in with your next flowers. Whatever design that you choose to do is perfectly fine. And now that I have my eucalyptus laid out to the way that I want it, I'm going to start adding my flowers. So I'm going to go ahead and start in with the carnations first. And what you do on one side, you need to do on the other. So I'm going to go ahead and lay in this blue one here. And then the red one. And I'm trying to keep the stems kind of even with each other. And then the white one on this side. So what I've done on this side, I will then go in and do on the opposite side. Just a mirror. So, but I'm just, for right now, I'm going to do one side at a time. So, so now that we have these laid out, I'm going to start in with my next flowers. So I'm going to reach over here and grab my next flowers here. Another thing I wanted to tell you guys is when you're cutting your flowers, make sure that you keep the leaves on them because that just kind of helps make it a little fuller. So I do leave the leaves on there. So I'm going to put this blue one over here. Now see how long the stem is on this? I'm going to go in probably and trim that down a little bit because your flowers, while you're laying them in here, you don't want to keep them all even with each other, if that makes sense. You kind of want to, each layer you go down, kind of make the flowers a little bit shorter. So since I'm going in with this one and it's a little bit longer, I am going to, I think I'm going to put the blue one on this side. So I'm just going to make it just a smidge shorter than the other flowers. And then I think I'll go in with this striped one in the middle and then the plain red one on the outside here. Okay, so as I've got these right here, I'm going to stop right here before I add any more, and I'm going to attach my zip tie. So I'm just going to bundle these up. I'm going to pick them up and kind of make sure that they are where I want them to be. So I think I need to move this up a little bit more, move this one up just a little bit more. Move the blue one up just a little bit more. Okay. I think that's probably going to work. So now you're going to take your zip tie and you're just going to zip tie your little bundle together here. You're kind of making like a bouquet of flowers. So now I'm going to put the zip tie fairly close to the bottom. You don't want to go all the way to the bottom, so because you don't want your, when you go to bend these, because you're going to have to bend these to form them around your wheel, you don't want them popping out of the zip tie. So I'm just going to, about right there, because like I said, I'll have to go in and trim some of this off. So, and you want to get your zip tie as tight as you can get it. So you just can't tighten it anymore. And then we're going to go in and just cut that off. So there is one part of your swag. So there's that. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with these other flowers. Now these are the baby's breath, so they're a little bit longer. Put those right there. Actually, I think I'm going to put the blue one underneath. Put that one there. And then I'm going to add the baby's breath in there. There's that. And then I'm going to go ahead and add this shorter, the smaller eucalyptus. I'm going to add it in there. I think that's kind of how I want it. So now that I have that there where I want it, okay, that looks good. And then I think I'm going to try and see if I can't zip tie all of these together. I may have to just do a couple at a time. But so since we're getting closer to the bottom, I'm going to make this carnation a little bit shorter down in here. And then this other one kind of right there. Okay, I think that's going to work just like that. So now I'm going to pick it up. Try to get these all situated where I want them. And the good thing is about these being wired, you can always go in and bend them and move them around and arrange them however you want later. But I just kind of wanted to get it started here, and then after we get it put on our wheel, we can go in and rearrange everything. So now that that is the way that I want it, I'm going to go ahead and grab a zip tie. I can do this with one hand, I don't know. Just grab the zip tie. Oh, I don't know if I can do this with one hand or not. I'm trying to get this to where you guys can see it. So it's a little harder to do. Now you do want to leave some space at the end on the bottom of your bundle here. And I will show you why in just a second. So tighten that down as tight as I can get it. And then I'm going to snip it off. Okay, so there is the first half of our swag. I think that's really pretty. You could leave it like that if you wanted to. But so you do want to leave some of this left open, because when we get to our second swag and we get it all put together, we are going to be attaching the two of them. And you want to leave a space kind of in the middle, because if you add a bow, you're going to want to put your bow in the middle. So that's why I'm leaving a space here. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the other side, and I'll probably do that off camera so that it doesn't make this video super duper long. So I'm going to go ahead and get my flowers all put together over here on this side, and then I will come back and show you what to do next. So now I've got both of my little bouquets of flowers done. So now I'm going to show you how I attach it to make it into a swag. So all you're going to do is, and you're probably going to need 3 or 4 zip ties for this part. You're just going to take one of your bunches, and then you're going to grab the other one, and you're just going to lay it sort of on top of each other like that. And then you're going to grab your zip tie. Oh, I need to turn it around. Now you want to get this as tight as you can get it. So there's one. Snap that off. And then I'm going to go ahead and do another one. Oops. It's hard to do with one hand. I'm trying to hold it up so that you guys can see it too. Now I don't want my zip ties to overlap each other. So all right, I think that's on there pretty good. I may end up going in and adding one more zip tie. I'm just trying to avoid not putting too many zip ties on there. So I don't know, it may just work with just those two. So anyway, this is what it should end up looking like. Now you're going to have a space in the middle, like I said, and this is going to be where you're going to add your bow. So there is what it looks like. You guys can see that. So there's that. Okay, so now that we've gotten to this part, I am going to show you how to attach it to the wheel. Now that we have our swag done, you're going to figure out where you want it. I think I'm going to have mine coming off on the side over here, because I think that's going to look really pretty. Now, you're going to want to bend your flowers just a little bit, but whenever you're doing that, make sure that you do hold really good on the middle, on the center part, so that it doesn't you know, flop out of there. But you're just going to kind of bend them a little bit so that they can kind of form to the wheel. And if you have flowers that fall off, it's fine, they'll just go right back on. So okay, I think I kind of got that bent all right. I may end up having to put, because you can see up here after I've bent it where it's trying to come apart a little bit. You can easily just go in and put another zip tie there. So that's what I'm going to do. I don't want it falling apart. So just add another zip tie. And don't worry, you're not going to be able to see the zip ties. Once you get this all on there and your flowers are all, you know, spread out the way you want them, and then you put your bow on there, it's really not going to matter. See, like I have this one that just fell out of there. That's totally fine. We're just going to put it right back in there before I get it all cinched in. There we go. Now you may end up too, you all are going to need some hot glue, and that's to attach the sign, because we're going to be using pipe cleaners to attach so that we can tie it onto our sign. But if you wanted to, you could take some hot glue and go in and kind of hot glue your flowers down also if you wanted to. So it's really not that big of a deal. So don't panic if your flowers fall out, because mine do too. It's really not a big deal. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off this little zip tie here. Okay, so now I'm going to figure out where I want this. And I think that it's going to look pretty right there. And we're just going to attach this with our zip ties. So I think I'm going to go right there. And all I'm doing is putting the zip tie all the way around to even to the back here. You guys can see that. I'm going to get my finger out of the way. Right there. And if you wanted to also, you could take some, after you get your swag put on here, you could take some hot glue to the back side of it to kind of attach it a little better to your frame, because it will kind of move around on there a little bit. It'll kind of slide just a little bit. Nothing horrible or anything like that, but it will kind of want to twist and slide, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Right now I've only got the one zip tie on there, but what I mean is, see how this moves? See how you can twist it over? So if you wanted to, after you got your zip ties on there, to avoid that, just add a little bit of hot glue to the back to kind of secure it on there. So there's one, and then I'm going to go ahead and add one more. I'm trying not to get the zip ties, I don't want them to overlap each other. So I'm going to move this kind of down toward the base here. Okay, I think that's going to work. All right, guys. We have got this attached now. It is attached to our wheel. So now I'm going to move on, and I'm going to go make a bow for this. Now, I'm not going to show how I make my bows, just because that would make this video really, really, really long. So if you know how to make a bow, great, go make yourself a bow. If you need to, there are plenty of tutorials on YouTube that teach you how to make a bow. So you can go and watch one of those, or just whatever you want to do. But I'm going to go ahead and go make my bow, and then I'm going to come back and show you guys how I'm going to attach my bow, and then we'll be attaching the sign. Now that I have all the flowers attached, I did go ahead and make my bow. So we are going to attach the bow, and it's really simple. So I'm going to move my hot glue sticks out of the way here. You're just going to figure out where you want it to go. I'm just going to put mine, like which way you want your tails to go. And you can always fluff your bow as soon as you're done. So I think I'm just going to put it right there. And see, as you can see, you can't see the zip ties in there. So your bow kind of covers all that up. So I'm just going to flip it over here. And I'm trying to find a good place to attach this, because I don't want it coming off. So I think I'm going to run this bottom pipe cleaner kind of down across this crossbar right here. And I'm just going to twist this on there. Give it a pretty good twist. Okay, so I'll go back in and cut that off later, but for right now, I'm just gonna kind of lay it down there. So I'm gonna flip this back over. So there's what it looks like with our bow. So you can either fluff it now or fluff it later. I'll probably just go in and fluff mine later, because what we're going to do next is we are going to add a sign. And I'm going to use one of these off of this 3-sign hanging decor that I got from DollarTree. And I think I'm going to be using this one right here that says "Let Freedom Ring." So all I'm going to do is cut it off of the little ribbon that it's attached to. Maybe I need some new scissors. I'll lay that aside because I can use that in another wreath. So there's what it looks like. And then to attach it, all I'm going to do is hot glue some pipe cleaners on the back. There's a bunch of different ways that you can attach pipe cleaners or wire or whatever you wanted to the back of a sign. I'm just going to use hot glue. I am using the Gorilla hot glue sticks, and these are awesome. So they seem to hold pretty well. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to figure out where I want this at on my wreath frame. I think I'm going to put it right there. I think that's going to look really cute right there. So to attach the pipe cleaners, I'm just going to take one whole pipe cleaner and I'm just folding it in half. And then I'm going to do the other one and fold it in half. Now, if you wanted to, you could cut the pipe cleaner in half and just use a half of a pipe cleaner. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and use the full pipe cleaner, and I can trim off the back later. So I'm going to flip this over here. And I'll grab my hot glue gun. Okay, so I'm just going to put quite a bit of hot glue on the back here to hold this down. And I am going to... So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and finish hot gluing these pipe cleaners on the back and let them cool down. And then I'll come back and we'll attach the sign. So I did go ahead and add a couple more pipe cleaners to the back of my sign. I added one up here and then one right here. I went ahead and wired the sign onto the frame, and then after I did that, I went back in and I snipped my pipe cleaners off, and then I, just for extra added reinforcement, I did go in and put some hot glue over the pipe cleaners where it's attached to the frame, just for some extra security so that it doesn't come off. Now, I know it doesn't look real pretty back here, but that is not going to matter because it's going to be hanging on your door or a wall or whatever. But if you really, wanted to, you could cut maybe a piece of felt or something, or a piece of material, and hot glue that over the sign on the back to kind of hide that. But that's up to you. I'm not going to worry about that because it's not that big of a deal to me. So anyway, I'm going to flip it back over here. So all I'm going to do now is just go through and start kind of fluffing out my bow, rearranging my flowers, kind of getting them situated to where I think it's going to look pretty, to where that you can see them all and everything. And yeah, so I think that is going to be the end of this video, guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't. Make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video so that you can see pictures of what it looks like hanging up. I hope that you all are having a wonderful day. I wanted to thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye!